There's a puzzle piece of Final Fantasy XIV's music that I feel I've been missing for a long time. The reason as to why Final Fantasy XIV's song Neath Dark Waters has made me cry so many times that in order to save time, I just assume the fetal position before each listen. I don't think that before then, a piece of music has ever made me cry just by listening. Though don't get me wrong, it's not because I'm a big, strong, manly man who never cries. I'm a bitch, so it is strange. Ever since I was a kid, I've been a singer, so I feel I have a pretty good grasp on music and its storytelling through lyrics. Why it makes me feel the way it does. When I was a kid, every song that I heard, I would start singing, and like it or not, I would very quickly memorize the lyrics. And the better they were, the more attached I got. I was convinced that lyrics were always superior. I mean, sure, a melody can evoke a little bit of emotion, but so what? I would have never known that Old MacDonald had a farm unless they explicitly told me on PBS Kids. So I was confused by this song. This song is a somber piece without any lyrics throughout the whole thing, and boy did it make me cry. But I discovered it isn't the melody itself that gets you, it's the idea associated with it.
Why did you spare me? Why? What have I done to deserve this mercy?
Now that may seem obvious to some of you, and that's because, well, it is. However, this rabbit's hole goes much deeper than that. Now, if I wanted to go through every major piece in the OST and its significance to explain this idea, we would be here for way longer than I'd be willing to edit this video. So instead, we're going to stick with two pieces, Neath Dark Waters and Shadowbringers, because those two are the most important to me and share a seat in my myocardium. Also 5.0 spoilers to be aware. Remember us. Remember that we once lived. The final words of Emmett, the main villain of Shadowbringers, as he passes on. But first, to explain why he wishes for his brethren to be remembered, and to put it in such a way that a squirrel could understand. It's a story of a people who saw a meteor shower forecast on CNN. Knowing that it would destroy the world, they tried putting up an umbrella using half the population to open it and protect themselves. But long story short, the umbrella kept getting holes in it from the meteor shower and killing people off because it's a fucking umbrella. And like many marriages, shit just ultimately didn't work out and they died off. Emmett wants those that live on to remember that once upon a time, there was a society of umbrella worshippers. Put those words in piano form and you have the song. Like I mentioned, this song is closely tied to Shadowbringers' main theme in my head because it's not only the words that Emmett speaks when he's passing. It's also right when the main theme of Shadowbringers starts playing up in a low, somber tone.
Remember. Remember us. Remember that we once lived.
Seamless transition to talking about the Shadowbringers theme. Now, as you are all aware, Shadowbringers is a song that has lyrics, so it's not what I was describing a few minutes ago. But we're gonna tie the strings of fate soon enough, so just cool down with some Cool Ranch Doritos for a sec. If you listen to the song enough times, it's easy to tell that the lyrics to this song are a telling of the Shadowbringers storyline and beyond. However, for the longest time, I've subconsciously felt there was so much more being told in this song than just that. But it's much harder to figure out. So much harder that while attempting to unpack it all, I deep fried my brain so I didn't have to think anymore. Then I took to the Final Fantasy XIV subreddit, the safe haven for all factual information, for help with this video. A post by Cancerous? Kanzaris? Anyways, does a fantastic job of breaking down the lyrics of Shadowbringers line by line. To reiterate, I am not going to read you this whole thing because I definitely will not edit it. So, in summary, an argument can be made that the Shadowbringers theme tells the entire story of Final Fantasy XIV's MSQ from A Realm Reborn to Shadowbringers ending in 5.0. I'll explain with a few lyrics. Forged in fury, tempered in ice. Halone, the Fury, is the patron deity of Ishgard, which is on an icy peak. Easy. Stormblood was all about liberation from Garlean rule, and when that was finally achieved, everyone sang a song as twilight came. Sing come twilight, sleep when they die. Boom. Now the one that threw me for the biggest loop was one brings shadow, one brings the light, over and over again. Now that's actually referring to you being the one and only one to bring everything across the Eorzea in A Realm Reborn's fetch quests over and over. While two-toned echoes tumbling through time, that's actually referring to Y'shtola's two butt cheeks and the ludicrous amount of pornographic content that's been released about her since Shadowbringers came out. Okay, I may have ad-libbed the explanation just a bit. You can check out the real one for yourself with the link in the description after the video, okay? And while you're at it, you should probably check out my Discord and Twitch stream. What the? No season, no content, all for free. And that's a fantastic price. Call now for half off. What the? I've only killed like... Now we're in the big cheese, where we tie it all together with one somewhat long story. So put down your Cool Ranch Doritos, be a real man, and pick up some originals, and shut the fuck up and listen. There was a video I was working on in between hourly jerk-off sessions back in November of last year about MS Soak. And this was the first time I experienced the phenomena I like to call the PTSD OST. Originally, when I finished off the Emmett fight, it was during a live stream, and at that time I was in entertainer mode on stream. So I didn't actually absorb his death or the meaning behind it. I don't care. But afterward, when making the video on this character, I became attached to him along the way. With that, I had time to process all that had happened over the course of the expansion and the game as a whole. Finally digesting the fact that this was the end of the main expansion 5.0. I spent a lot of the time writing and editing this video, just reflecting on everything that happened since I started playing the game. My struggles with being stuck inside for all of 2020 with no IRL friends, a feeling of stagnation encroaching constantly in my real life and in my day job, and even with my hobby over on YouTube and Twitch. Despite the fact that I put so much dedication into both of them, both were at a virtual standstill.
We've come so far, so goddamn far! I could have sworn the end was in sight, and now... Now they will never see it.
And it really didn't help that this video was being made in November and released in December. Prime time for self-reflection. Lazy people realize that they're lazy, and men who play female Makote realize that they're weeaboo losers. Then I watched the final scene of Emmett passing on, and from then on, whenever I hear "For whom weeps the storm, her tears on us," it's over for me. I'm inactive for at least 10 minutes plus a mandatory jerk-off session. But I don't think the reason that I personally get emotional when I hear that song is because the Asian plight was so sad, though that shit didn't help at all. And I don't think it's just because I'm a little bitch boy either. It's more that my brain has associated that theme with my life experiences. Because the period of real life time that I played Final Fantasy XIV was a particularly harsh one for me and many others. And despite the fact that I didn't understand to what extent the Shadowbringers theme covered the story of Final Fantasy XIV, I had some rudimentary understanding that the theme covered much of the story, which brought forth memories going back even further than just the Shadowbringers expansion. And the theme, in a way, became a map of my life during 2020. Not too long after this, I watched a video titled Remember Us, which was simply an animation of Emmett playing the piano section of Neath Dark Waters. Suddenly I was crying uncontrollably, and I couldn't understand why. As I've said, it's a confusing experience for me to cry to such a song with no lyrics. But by searching my brain's database, I found the ties from Remember Us to Shadowbringers to the entire story of the MSQ to real life. Despite not having any lyrics that directly tie it to the story of my life in 2020, Remember Us still manages to open the floodgates whenever I hear it. I just think back to all of the stream moments that I had and the highs and lows of it all. The ability actually is kind of badass though. I'm gonna actually use it in a second here. Yeah, there we go. Perfect. I protect at least. I block the damage. The ridiculous quotes that I have said. You used to cough to like cover your fart. Now you fart to cover your cough. And the great and poor experiences this game has given me. Oh, why does it have to talk? Why? Come on, dude. To work, to the schooling that I've now finished up. Thank Heidelin for that. The music coupled with the continuity of the beautiful MSQ storytelling from expansion to expansion. has been a truly outstanding way to make me reflect on my own life and my own experiences during that time. And I'm sure I'm not the only one who feels that way. Some people who have played this game since it came out could probably map a huge part of their life to the game's story and to the game in general. Maybe one job you worked on a certain expansion, or maybe even one raid to one exam you failed because you were up at 2 a.m. getting fucked by Ysayle. Having created so many different videos on Shadowbringers, all with different conclusions, I would say if there's any motif that's a staple across all of Shadowbringers storytelling, it's reliving the past, learning from it, and moving on. But it all starts with remembering them. From Remember Us to Shadowbringers, to my personal story of playing through Final Fantasy XIV's MSQ and dealing with virtual and IRL bullshit. All of these things that were a previously disjointed set of instruments all playing loudly in my ear, confusing my emotional responses, have now finally found the symphony connecting them all. And I'd have to say that that allowed me to move on from everything that happened in 2020 fully. And now I understand. Of course all that would bring me to tears, but it's easy to miss when you aren't conscious of what's going on in your mind. The PTSD OST producers have distracted my consciousness with bunny girl clothing and managed to jump straight from Remember Us to tears. That's what used to happen anyways, before I discovered I could cover my ears from the song while I'm in the fetal position and I won't cry.